AI never sleeps, and this week has been absolutely insane. We have a new AI that can relight photos like this. We have two new state-of-the-art video generators. We have an AI that's really good at analyzing Xrays, and another one that's designing eyes. Yes, you heard it, eyes. We have a new open source music generator. We have an AI that can generate videos offline on your phone. We have new information about GPT 4.5 and GPT 5 and a lot more. So let's jump right in. Alright, first up, this tool is called Light a Video. This can basically change the lighting or background of a video without having to re-record the video. So here are some examples. So at the top here are the original videos. Well, you can use this tool to basically change the lighting of the scene and it would adjust the colors of the original video accordingly. Here are some more examples. So again, at the top are the original videos and you just need to describe what you want to change in a prompt. So for example, here, if you want to change this to sunset, well, that's exactly what it does. Here are some more examples where again, at the top is the input video. If you prompt this with sunset, then here's what happens. Here are some additional examples where, again, at the top are the original videos, and then at the bottom are the new videos with different lighting. Note that it's able to keep the details of the original video quite consistent. It's just mostly changing the lighting. Now, the nice thing is you can even get it to separate the foreground of something and then add in a completely different background. So let's say at the top is your separated foreground. Well, you can generate a new video with this foreground and you can specify whatever background you want, as you can see in these examples. So this could be a really cool tool for product commercials. So really quickly, here's how it works. It first breaks down your video into individual frames, and then it adds noise to each frame of the video. It then goes through this video diffusion model, and here's what happens during that process. Over here is where it takes in your prompt, like a car driving on the street neon light, and then it uses a stable diffusion model. In this case, it's using Realistic Vision 5.1 and this relighting model called IC Light, both of which are free and open source. And it uses both these models to basically generate the new relit video frame by frame. And then this progressive light fusion component kind of compares and blends the original video frames with the newly generated frames. And this ensures that everything remains more consistent. So in this example, it would make sure that this car remains consistent but blends in seamlessly with the new relit image. Anyways, if you scroll up to the top, the code is already out. So they have a GitHub repo, and if you click into it and scroll to the middle, it contains all the instructions on how to install and run this locally on your computer. And yes, this is completely free and offline. Note that they are also planning to release a Gradio demo, which is basically a visual interface, so you don't have to work with as much code. Anyways, I will link to this main page in the description below for you to read further. Next up, we have a new tool called Magic 141. This can create videos up to a minute long in under 1 minute. So it's a blazing fast video generator. Here are some really cool examples of some of its generations. So you can see super detailed, it follows the prompt very well, everything remains very consistent. Here's another example. Notice how it can handle humans really realistically. It can also handle some pretty cool effects like this time-lapse video. Here's an example of anime. Notice how everything is very consistent. It also gets her to talk pretty realistically. And then here's an example of, more Disney Pixar style animation. Again, everything is super detailed and consistent across the entire video. Notice how it animates the cat very naturally. Here are some examples of wildlife, like this raptor here. Notice how the details are super sharp. This looks really good. And then here's a really cool example of some post-apocalyptic cyberpunk scene. Again, everything looks really consistent. There's no warping with any of these characters, even though there's a lot of people walking around. There's a lot of buildings in the background as well. It's quite a messy scene, but everything looks quite consistent. Here's another example. Really cool scene, by the way. Alright, so what is this and how does it actually work? So this Magic 141 uses this free and open source video generator called Hunyuan as the base model, but it uses a special technique called step distillation, which can basically generate videos in just a few steps, compared to other state-of-the-art video generators which require a lot more steps. So how exactly does it do this? Well, it actually breaks it down into two parts. The AI first creates an image from your text description, and then it generates a video with that image as the starting frame. So it's basically text to image first and then image to video. And this approach is way faster because, well, text to image is a lot faster than text to video. And then once you have the image, it's also easier for the AI to generate a video based on that frame. In addition to this, the AI also uses some other techniques such as adversarial step distillation, which accelerates the generation process, and also another technique called parameter sparsification, which reduces memory usage and the amount of compute required. With all these new techniques added together, this allows the model to generate these videos in just a few seconds. Now, if you've played around with image generation before, you'll probably know how painful it is to wait for a video to generate. Especially for free open source models that you run locally on your computer, it can take forever, especially if you don't have a good enough GPU. And even for top commercial models out there, you still have to wait at least a few minutes to generate a video. But with this new Magic 141 architecture, we may start to see much faster video generation times. Anyways, the nice thing is they've already released the code. So here's their GitHub repo, and here it contains all the instructions on how to download and run this. Anyways, the links are all up here, so I'll link to this page in the description below. Next up, this AI is super cool. It's called MedRAX, and this is an AI assistant that basically helps you analyze chest X-ray images. So here's an example of how it works. You basically talk to it like a chatbot. It's basically a chatbot or AI assistant with vision. So you can upload one or multiple photos of X-ray scans and ask it super technical questions, and it is fine-tuned to analyze and understand these X-ray scans. Now, obviously, this would be a super useful tool to help doctors with diagnosis and medical research. Now, in addition to creating this assistant, they also introduced a benchmark called Chest Agent Bench, which is basically a test of how good an AI is in terms of analyzing chest X-ray images. And if you compare the performance of this new MedRAX against other AI vision models, notice how it pretty much beats all of them in all these categories. However, that being said, I'm kind of disappointed that they did not include one of the best free and open source vision models out there, Qwen 2.5 VL. I'm curious to see how Qwen would perform in comparison to these other models. Anyways, the nice thing is the code and the dataset are already out, and this is under the Apache 2 license, so you can do whatever you want with it. And here it contains all the instructions on how to install and run this locally on your computer. So a really useful and powerful tool. Anyways, I'll link to this page in the description below for you to read further. In other news, Perplexity has released a feature called Deep Research this week. Not to confuse it with OpenAI's product, which also has the same name, Deep Research, and also has the exact same function. And not to confuse that with Google's product, which is also called Deep Research and also does the same thing. But I'm sure Perplexity just thought of this name on their own and they were completely unaware of Google's product or OpenAI's product. Anyways, this is basically an AI agent, so you would ask it a question and it would go scrape the web for all the relevant information and compile it into a nice report for you. And best of all, even free users can access this. So it says pro subscribers will get unlimited deep research queries, while non-subscribers will have access to a limited number of answers per day. So let's try this out right now. I'm just on the free plan, and in this dropdown is where you can select deep research. And then let's actually try this one out. Write a thesis predicting the state of self-driving by 2030. Now, with deep research, it does take a few minutes. It has to search the web and look for all the relevant information, and you can see its process as it goes through all these steps. So it has started searching for self-driving 2030 predictions. It says these insights are valuable for understanding the broader context. However, to write a thesis, I need to explore more academic perspectives that delve into theoretical frameworks, ethical considerations, societal impacts, future implications. I will now search for academic or research-based discussions. So now it's searching for more academic sources. And then after that, it says, however, there is still a gap in understanding the ethical and societal implications of self-driving technology. So you can see how comprehensive this tool is. It's like trying to really understand all aspects of my question and finding the right sources so it can help write a well-rounded thesis for me. Alright, so finally it says, I have gathered enough information to answer your query. These findings will allow me to craft a well-rounded thesis predicting the state of self-driving by 2030. And then finally, it is now writing this entire thesis for me. Notice how it's citing a lot of info from various different sources. Everything is super technical. So it has a ton of stats throughout this article. It first looks at the technological evolution of autonomous systems. It gives us the timeline with a ton of citations from various sources. Then it looks at the economic and market transformations, again with a ton of data. And then it looks at regulatory and legal landscapes, and this includes ethical AI and public trust. And then it also looks at regional adoption patterns. So across the world, including North America and China and Europe, what is autonomous driving like right now, and what would it be in 2030? And then finally, it also looks at environmental and social impacts. And then it comes up with a conclusion. So a super comprehensive thesis that's just packed with information. And like I said, this is completely free to use, so definitely take advantage of this. Now, here are some benchmark comparisons so you can see how good Perplexity Deep Research is. So here's Humanity's Last Exam, which I featured a few times on my previous videos. This is a very misleading name. This isn't really a measure of AGI or when AI will take over the world. This is basically a set of really hard questions on very specialized and lesser known scientific domains. And while Perplexity is only in second place, it's behind OpenAI's Deep Research. Notice how it's even better than OpenAI's O3 Mini High, which is the paid model. Plus, it's better than DeepSeek R1 and OpenAI's O1. But that's just Humanity's Last Exam. This probably is not relevant to you, to be honest. Again, this is only for very specialized topics. Here's another benchmark which really shows how insane Perplexity Deep Research is. So this is the Simple QA benchmark. It has several thousand questions that test for factuality. And if you've been using AI models a lot, you'll know that they hallucinate a lot. They often give you false information or they just make stuff up. So Simple QA really tests for whether an AI model's output is factually correct. And you can see Perplexity Deep Research just obliterates everything else on this benchmark. So if getting things correct is your main concern, if you want an AI model that does not hallucinate so much, Perplexity Deep Research is the best option for you. Anyways, I'll link to this blog in the description below for you to read further. Thanks to Monica for sponsoring this video. Monica is an AI assistant that provides access to the best AI tools all in one place. This includes the top AI models like GPT, DeepSeek, and Gemini, plus the top image generators like Flux and Stable Diffusion, and the top video generators like Kling and Hailuo. This is a killer deal because you can use all of these in one platform for way cheaper than if you used all of these separately. You can use this as a browser extension on your desktop or on your mobile device. And their browser extension is context aware, so you can interact directly with any web page you're on. You can easily get Monica to reply to emails or summarize an article. So for example, let's say I'm on this page. I can get Monica to summarize this really technical article in just one click. And here's something even cooler. You can even generate a mind map from this content, which can help you understand ideas more visually. Note that this is way more convenient than just copying everything and going to ChatGPT to ask it to summarize the article. You can also use Monica to summarize YouTube videos. So here's an example. Let's say I'm watching this YouTube video. I can get it to generate a summary or even generate a podcast in just one click. Let's try this one. It even gives you a list of highlights with the correct timestamps. Plus, if you click on this, again, it's generating a mind map for you so you can understand everything more visually. With Monica, everything is just a few clicks away. But don't take my word for it, they have over 10 million users worldwide with a 4.9 star rating on the Chrome store. Try it out for free via the link in the description below. And when you're ready to upgrade, use my code AISearch10 for a nice discount. Full details in the description below. Next up, Bytedance releases a new video model this week called Goku. So here are some impressive examples. Here we have a middle-aged, sad, bald man becomes happy as a wig of curly hair and sunglasses falls suddenly on his head. And that is indeed what we get. He does kind of turn happy as the wig and sunglasses fall on his head. And note how complex this prompt is, but it's able to understand and generate everything. And what about eating videos? So here we have a man sits at a table and eats noodles with chopsticks, and it handles this very well. That looks like a delicious bowl of noodles. What about more complex scenes and multiple objects? So for example, a litter of golden retriever puppies playing in the snow. Well, it can handle this as well. All the puppies in this scene are quite consistent, even though it's quite a chaotic and complex scene. Here's a really interesting example. So the prompt is: a serene orchard is in full bloom with trees heavy with blossoms and bees buzzing around, darting from flower to flower. And indeed, we have these blossoms with a ton of bees buzzing around. Super realistic generation. Here's another very complex scene, handheld shot chasing after a group of friends laughing and playing on the beach at sunset. And even though everyone is running around, it's quite a tricky scene to generate, but everyone looks very consistent, including their faces and limbs. And the awesome thing is you can control the camera movements right in your prompt. So here the prompt is an extreme close-up shot of an ant emerging from its nest. The camera pulls back, revealing a neighborhood beyond the hill. And indeed, we first start off with a really close-up shot of these ants, and then it zooms out to focus on the neighborhood in the background. Really cool. Here's another impressive example. In a modern upscale hotel suite, the camera starts from the center of the living room. The room features light-colored sofas, large floor-to-ceiling windows, etc., etc. And I mean, this can totally be used as a real estate commercial. This one looks insanely realistic. In a well-lit room with a white desk, a laptop, and a shelf with various items in the background, a woman and boy are interacting with a smartphone. And that's indeed what we get. Notice they all have 5 fingers on each hand. The faces look super consistent. I mean, it's really hard for me to tell that this was AI generated. And it can even do higher action scenes like this, which honestly not a lot of video generators can do right now. So here we have this martial artist performing a flurry of fast kicks and punches in a dojo. And you can see it handles his movements very consistently. We don't really see any warping going on. Now, instead of just landscape videos, you can also generate videos in a portrait aspect ratio, like these examples. This would be perfect for creating TikTok videos or YouTube shorts. And of course, with this tool, you can easily generate these fake influencers for social media. This would be perfect for marketing, sales, and education.
Hey here, welcome to the Goku Plus. Goku Plus is a new family of video foundation models built on the top of Goku, specifically designed to optimize advertising scenarios involving humans and products to maximize advertising performance.
大家好，我是98年的，我现在辞职出来环游世界了。哎呀，我真的没有那个闲工夫啊，专门拍个视频出来骗人。给你们看一下我的微信余额。如果说你的工资不高，很缺钱的话，一定要听我的啊，去下一个我视频下方这个软件，我保证你下完之后啊，一定会回来感谢我的。
It's pretty much impossible to tell that these are AI generated, besides the fact that all of them look way too good to be actual humans. And here's another awesome thing about it. You can upload any image of a product, and with a text prompt, it can generate a video of your product. So this would be perfect for businesses looking to create videos of their products. You no longer need to pay a ton of money to advertising agencies to film and create commercials for you. You just need to prompt an AI and it would create these product videos for you in just a few minutes. Here are some more examples. It even works with complex items like this Minnie Mouse product, which has a really complex and unique design, but it's able to add this product to this video very accurately. Same with these, I don't know what these are, which again have a very complex design with specific text, but it's able to add these to the video very seamlessly. So a super useful tool. And here are some more examples. This time it's of like influencers. I wonder where they got their training data from, by the way. But again, with this tool, you no longer need to actually film real people for TikTok or YouTube Shorts. You can easily just prompt this AI to generate whatever influencer you want doing whatever action you want. And notice how all of these are insanely realistic. And if you click on their GitHub page, they compared Goku with other leading video generators like Runway's Gen 3 and Kling, Luma, and Hunyuan across all these different metrics like background consistency, temporal flickering, motion smoothness, subject quality, etc. And note that Goku achieved the highest total score out of all these models. Really impressive. Now, since they do have a GitHub repo, and on here it says on the way, there is a good chance that they will actually open source this. But for now, we cannot use this yet. Anyways, I'll link to this page where you can check out more examples, and I'll definitely update you as soon as we can get access to this. In other news, one of my favorite robotics company, Unitree, has just released a new demo of their G1 humanoid robot. Now, Unitree is well known for its super flexible and mobile robots. Like, they have another robot called the H1, which is currently the fastest running humanoid robot, and then we have the G1, which is super acrobatic. It can do pretty insane stuff, as you can see here. Well, now they just released a new demo of this G1, and instead of doing backflips or running, this time they taught it to dance. So apparently they have upgraded their algorithm so that it can learn how to dance. And I mean, just look how fluid and natural it's able to move its body. This seems way more flexible than, other robots like the Figure or the Tesla Optimus, which can only walk really slowly. They can't even run yet. So anyways, this was just another impressive demo of what the G1 can do with this new upgraded algorithm. Next up, we have a new free and open source AI music generator. This time it's called InspireMusic by Alibaba. You can basically generate complete music with a text prompt, or even an audio prompt, which I'll show you in a second. So here are some examples. You can specify the music structure, or basically what part of the song you want to generate. So there's like intro, verse, chorus, outro. You can select the genre, like instrumental, R&B, jazz, rock, and then you would simply input a prompt describing what you want to generate. Now, there are actually a few models that you can use, which we'll go over in a second. For the model with conditional flow matching, this is basically a technique that refines the generated audio to produce a better and higher fidelity output. Now, there are many demos on this page. In the interest of time, I'm just going to play you the model with this conditional flow matching, which is, in theory, better quality. So here's a jazz verse, and the prompt is experience soothing and sensual instrumental jazz with a touch of bossa nova, perfect for a relaxing restaurant or spa ambience. Let's see what that sounds like. Here we have a metal intro, so the prompt is exploring a blend of symphonic metal with a primal rhythmic instrumental backdrop. This track features powerful, creating an epic and immersive auditory experience. Let's hear what that sounds like. Not bad. Here's another example. So here's an electronic outro. The instrument exudes a progressive house vibe with electronic elements. Here's a really interesting example. So New Age music, this is an instrumental designed to balance chakras, enhance happiness, and maintain calm. Perfect for yoga sessions and relaxation. Very nice. And then here's some game music, an energetic blend of anime and game music featuring dynamic instrumentals. It does feel like I'm in some Japanese arcade. Now, as I mentioned before, you can also use audio as an input. So you can first upload a sample clip and it would continue from that original sample. And notice there are different models here, which we'll go over in a second. This long model allows you to generate audio for over 5 minutes. So this is definitely enough to generate a full song. Anyways, let's hear this original audio prompt. Alright, so that's what we input, and here's the continuation from that. Very nice, and then here's another example. So here's the input audio. And then here's the continuation. Again, very nice. It does preserve the vibe and instruments from the original track. Now, the nice thing is this is completely free and open source, and they've already released the code. So the installation instructions and all the models are up here. And if you click into their GitHub repo, it contains all the instructions on how to install this and run it locally. Note that all of the examples I played for you so far are instrumentals. That's because it currently only supports text-to-music generation, although they do plan to expand this to include text-to-song capabilities, which probably means you can add in lyrics and get a voice to sing. And if you scroll down a bit, here are all the models that you can use. Most notably is this long model, which can generate music for more than 5 minutes. So this is perfect for generating background music for a video or a restaurant. And note that they do have this Inspire song model, which is not out yet, but this can generate samples in stereo. Note that if you do want a free and open source music generator that can generate entire songs with someone actually singing, well, you already have this option. It's called Yue, and this not only allows you to specify the genre in your prompt, but you can also input lyrics and get someone to sing. So for example here, the prompt description is inspiring female uplifting vocal, and then here is where you input the lyrics, and let me just play you the first 10 seconds of this.
Thoughts of you keep swirling, can't deny.
So this is completely free and open source. I already did a full tutorial on how to install this, so definitely check out this video if you haven't already. Anyways, back to InspireMusic. Like I said, it can't generate full songs yet, but this is still a really cool and free tool for generating instrumentals or background music. I'll link to this page in the description below. Next up, we have a really wacky project. It's called What If I, and this is basically a computer simulation that lets virtual eyes evolve from scratch. So it's trying to simulate how eyes evolved in real animals over millions of years. So here they place these eyes in all these different environments. In red is basically what this AI is seeing through its eyes. And of course, the AI can move around depending on what it sees. So in all these environments, think of it as like a virtual petri dish where scientists can study how eyes develop and adapt to different environments. So the simulation starts with a single light detecting cell. That's how we think the first ever eye came from. It came from this single light detecting cell, and then these digital creatures faced challenges that shaped real eyes over millions of years. For example, navigating the world, discerning food from poison, and evading predators. So they basically created all of these scenarios and ran a ton of simulations, and over time the AI kind of learned or evolved to become better at all these tasks. So for example, here's the first generation. It's not really good. It's like running into walls a lot of the time. But after 50 generations, the eye becomes a lot better at navigation and finding rewards. So as these eyes evolve, they also develop differently based on survival needs. So for example, some creatures might develop compound eyes for navigation, while others might develop camera-like eyes for finding food and avoiding poison. So here are some key findings from the project. They found that orientation tasks like navigation in a maze leads to distributed compound type eyes. These are the type of eyes with multiple lenses, like on flies, for example. So this could suggest that when you're designing self-driving cars or agents, which has a core purpose of navigation and exploration, then these distributed compound type eyes might make more sense. However, if you need to discriminate objects, for example, finding food and avoiding poison or hunting down prey that's hidden in a very messy environment, then this led to the evolution of high acuity camera type eyes. These are the eyes found in humans or top predators like falcons and big cats, for example. So they found that there's a trade-off, right? If the creature's main goal is to navigate and explore different environments, then it's going to develop these compound type eyes. But this is not good for precision. This is not good for like hunting down or distinguishing between different objects. In contrast, these high acuity camera-like eyes are great for that. It's great for distinguishing between different objects, but it's not going to be as good in navigation and exploration. And here's another interesting finding. Vision power and brain power are very interconnected. So the bigger the brain, the better your vision will become, at least to some extent. And this is analogous to scaling laws that we see in AI systems. So for AI, the more compute you pump into the system, the more performant or quote-unquote intelligent the AI model becomes. So similarly, if you have a bigger brain, if you have more compute, your eyes also become more performant. As the tasks get harder and harder, the vision system needs to get better, and in order to do so, the brain also needs to get more powerful in order to process the visual information. Anyways, a quite unusual but interesting project. I think the most promising outcome of this project is it can help us design more performant AI vision systems, which can then be used in self-driving cars or robots. Anyways, I'll link to this page in the description below where you can read further. Next up, we have another free and open source tool to enhance videos. This is appropriately named Enhance a Video, and this can basically improve the quality of generated videos. Now, this is a tool that you can add on to an existing AI video generator. So for example, you can see here it's using Hunyuan as the base model, and then here's the original generation on the left. Note that if you add Enhance a Model, it's really good at adding more detail and correcting things in the video. So for example, you can see in the areas they've highlighted, the background is a lot clearer, her face is a bit clearer as well, and she has 5 toes here, whereas Hunyuan's video has 6 toes. Here's another example. The original video is on the left. You can see the car is driving backwards and there are no people in the car. If you plug this into Enhance a Video, then it just makes things more accurate. There does seem to be some people in the car, plus the car is driving straight. Here's another example. The original video is pretty awful. You can see his head seems to be totally separated and sliding down, whereas for this enhanced video, at least everything seems more intact. And like I said, this is a tool you can add on to any existing video generator, so it doesn't have to be Hunyuan. Here, this is an example using another open source video generator called CogVideo X. And if the prompt is balloon full of water exploding in extreme slow motion, note that the original video from CogVideo doesn't even have a balloon, whereas this enhanced video is a lot more accurate. So really quickly, here's how it works. It uses a special enhance block component to basically improve the quality of the videos. It makes sure the frames stay consistent and detailed. And it does this by measuring how frames interact, or basically this is also known as cross-frame intensity. And then after measuring this, it can boost this interaction using a special temperature setting. And ultimately this helps the video look smoother and more connected. The nice thing is you can already use this for free. So at the top here is their GitHub repo. And if you scroll to the bottom, this contains all the instructions on how to download and run this locally on your computer. Anyways, I will link to this main page in the description below for you to read further. Alright, next up we have yet another video generator, but this one has a ton of new features. So it's called Cinemaster, and unlike traditional 2D video generators, this system understands and works with the 3D space. So here's what I mean by that. You can control an object in 3D space and then apply that motion into a video that you generate. So for example, let's say you're dragging this object outward and then you prompt the video generator with these prompts. You're going to get videos that look like this with the object flying outward. And it doesn't just work with one object. You can manipulate multiple objects in a 3D space and then apply those motions to a video. So it doesn't matter if it's a man with a car or a man with a boat or a man looking at the moon. Notice how it's able to map the movements of the 3D objects perfectly to the final video. Here's another cool example. So on the left, we have a car passing another car from behind, and that's indeed what you specified with the 3D model. Or you can stack two 3D models on top of each other, and then if you prompt it with a panda driving a motorcycle in the city, this is your result. Or you can also do something like this, and then prompt it with a cat jumps down from the table. Here are some additional examples. So, by manipulating these 3D objects in a 3D space, this gives you a lot of flexibility in controlling how objects move in a video. Now, of course, with this tool, if you're controlling a 3D space, you can also control the camera movement. Here's what that would look like. You can get the camera to move up first and then zoom in, as you can see in these examples. Or here are some additional examples. Note that with this tool, you can specify pretty complex camera movements instead of just simple panning and zooming. So really quickly, here's how it works. First of all, your prompt is broken down into identifiable objects. So for example, if your prompt is a woman riding a red bicycle through a lush green field, well, this AI will detect that, all right, there's going to be a person and a bicycle. And then, of course, you also input some 3D model animations into here. And then this architecture has a core component called Semantic Layout ControlNet, which contains two main parts. The first part is this semantic injector, which basically combines your 3D object positions with their relevant labels. So in this case, it's going to map one of these objects as the person and the other one as the bicycle. It then runs this through a diffusion transformer control net, which processes this information and integrates it with the main model. And in addition, we also have this camera adapter component, which is used to control both object and camera movements together for an accurate and smooth video generation. Anyways, I'll link to this page in the description below for you to check out more demos. Also this week, we finally have some new information on the next version of GPT. So here's an update from Sam Altman regarding GPT 4.5 and GPT-5. So he says, we will next ship GPT 4.5, the model we called Orion internally, as our last non-chain of thought model. So this is basically a non-thinking model like GPT-4o. This is different from O1 or O3 or DeepSeek R1, which can think through its answer before responding. So after releasing GPT 4.5, a top goal is to unify the O series, these are the thinking models, with the GPT series, which are the non-thinking models, by creating systems that can use all our tools know when to think for a long time or not, and generally be useful for a very wide range of tasks. In both ChatGPT and our API, we will release GPT-5 as a system that integrates a lot of our technology, including O3. We will no longer ship O3 as a standalone model. Alright, so let's break this down. First of all, they are going to release GPT 4.5, which is going to be the best and the last non-thinking model. After that, they are going to create systems that basically merge these non-thinking models, the GPT series, with the thinking models, O1 and O3. And these systems, it seems like they will automatically determine for us when to use which model. Because sometimes it doesn't need to think for so long, sometimes it does. So GPT-5 will be one of these systems. It's not going to be a traditional non-thinking GPT model, nor is it going to be a thinking model like O series, but it's going to be a blend of both these models. Additionally, we will no longer ship O3 as a standalone model, which is a bummer because O3 is insanely more powerful, some might even call it dangerous, compared to the O1 model, at least for this Arc AGI benchmark. So no, they will not release O3, but you could use O3 via GPT-5. And then here's the really cool part. The free tier of ChatGPT will get unlimited access to GPT-5 at the standard intelligence setting. And then Plus and Pro users, they can get a higher level of intelligence. Now, when are all of these features coming out? He did not specify, but I hope this gives you more clarity on what's coming out in the near future. Alright, next up we have this really cool AI called On-device Sora, and this lets you generate videos locally on your phone. Now, before you get too excited here, this is a very misleading name. First of all, no, you're not using OpenAI's Sora, you're using a free and open source alternative called OpenSora, which is not the best quality model. Here are some examples of what OpenSora can create. So you can see there's still a lot of warping and inconsistencies with all these videos. Anyways, here's a demo of how on-device Sora works. Also note that you can only generate a maximum resolution of 256 by 256. I would not recommend actually using this to generate videos. None of the videos are usable quality, but I think this is a very important step towards a future where anyone can be able to create good quality videos just locally on their phone. So this brings up the question, well, why can't we already do this? Why can't we run like Hunyuan on my cell phone? Well, here's the problem. In order to generate videos locally, all these models require a GPU with a lot of VRAM. However, the memory capacity of like the iPhone 15 Pro is only 3.3 gigabytes. So that's the red line over here. So note that even if you want to run OpenSora, the requirement, this blue bar, is way beyond what the iPhone can handle. So how do we overcome this? How do we jam-pack this model so that it can be used on an iPhone? Well, they basically broke the model down into smaller chunks. So it says here, we partition these models into smaller blocks and load them into memory accordingly for model inference. So instead of loading the entire model at once, it loads it block by block. And then here's the architecture of this AI system. It also uses some pretty clever tricks to make the generation faster and more efficient. So for example, it uses this linear proportional leap component, which generates videos more quickly by skipping some intermediate steps. It also has this concurrent inference and dynamic loading, which helps the AI generate videos more efficiently by using multiple processing units at the same time. And then they also have this temporal dimension token merging component, which helps generate videos that are more coherent and smooth. Now, of course, if you break this down into chunks and you try to make it more efficient to be run on an iPhone, you're gonna get some sacrifice in quality. But the nice thing is the loss in quality is actually very minimal. So on the top here are several frames from a sample generation using OpenSora on a computer. This is the full version of OpenSora. And then on the bottom is the generation using this new on-device Sora, which was run on an iPhone. So you can see, especially for the fire example, there is some considerable loss in quality, even for this lemur example. But overall, not too bad considering that you're trying to pack all of this within this red line. Anyways, I thought this was just an interesting tool to share. I think eventually in the near future, everyone is going to be able to generate good quality videos right on their phones. And this is just the first step. Anyways, I'll link to this page in the description below for you to read further. Next up, we have a really fast video generator that can create 1080p videos. It's called FlashVideo, and actually the concept is really simple. In the simplest sense, it basically takes in your prompt and generates a low resolution video at 270p, and then it upscales that video to 1080p. And with this process, it basically significantly reduces the generation time compared with if you just generated a 1080p video straight from this prompt. And the final result is really high definition. So for example, here the prompt is fluffy llama in a cozy cafe. Notice the video on the left is the low resolution video at 270p, and then on the right is the upscaled version at 1080p. Notice the insane details of the llama's fur. Here's another drone shot example. The prompt is at the top, and then on the left is the initial low resolution video. And then after upscaling this, after enhancing the details, on the right is the final 1080p version. Again, note how detailed everything is. Here's another example where the prompt is a cat with bright eyes, and then again notice the insane quality of the cat's fur and eyes in this final video. Really impressive. Here is yet another example of an intellectual looking rabbit reading a newspaper. Again, the final video is just super sharp and detailed. Here's a cute example of a kitten in a pirate costume riding a robot vacuum, and again everything looks very sharp and detailed. Anyways, there are a ton of examples on this page, so in the interest of time, I'm not going to go over all of these. At the top of this page, they've already released a GitHub repo with all the code. So if you scroll here, it contains all the instructions on how to install this and run it locally on your computer. Anyways, I will link to this main page in the description below for you to read further. As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week. I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel. So to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.